What's up, everyone, and welcome to Disc Review, the show where we give you our unfiltered opinions with absolutely no authority. My name is Max Allen, and my co-host is Matthew McDonald. Matt, what is up?
Hi, how's it going?
Man, I'm pretty good. I'm hyped. Yeah, dude. This was my pick this week. Today we'll be focusing on "This Place Will Become Your Tomb" by Sleep Token, and I am honestly just really excited to hear your opinion because I think that this album is pretty good. I won't say it's like my all-time favorite, but I like it a lot. And I think that it's got a lot of really cool things going for it. So, what's your quickly just give me like a rundown of like how you felt about it.
When I started the first couple of tracks, I was kind of unsure if I was going to like this. And I'll talk more about why, but there's a couple songs on here that actually blew me away and I was really impressed by, and will listen to in the future on my own time. Like I was caught off guard. They kind of came out of nowhere for me, and I think after hearing the standout songs, I was really a fan. But yeah, I don't know if I think it's a perfect album because there's a couple songs that I was just like found a little bit generic, and I'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've heard this style in a lot of other artists, and it just wasn't impressing me as much. But overall, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that it's got really strong songs on it, and then it's got some songs that are like just okay, and the strong songs really overpower it, and it's almost like it's funny because when I was going through it, I noticed that there were lots of songs on here that I didn't even really know, and it was just because like the memorable ones are so memorable that they like overshadow the other ones. But let's take a dive into track number 1, which is Atlantic. What were your thoughts on Atlantic?
So I like that there's some piano here, and I kind of knowing the style of the album as a whole, which is a little bit heavier, the heavy guitar. I liked getting a little bit of variety with the piano. I liked there was some synths in the middle that I was a big fan of, that kind of introduce you to the feel of the album. I just don't think there wasn't really any standout melodies for me on this song, which is like makes it forgettable to me. I think probably one of the biggest problems I have with the weaker songs on this album is that I just can't even for the life of me remember any of the melodies on them. And it just comes down to people just love catchiness, and the best songs on here are by far the catchiest, and I can still hear them in my head now. But that's really all I had for the first song.
Yeah, I agree with you that some of the melodies are forgettable. I personally really like the first track. I think that it's a great, soft, slow song that kind of builds up into a kind of like this big finish, which is really just the start of the album. But I think that there's also some better soft songs on this album. This one's, it's more just to get you ready, get you kind of in the mood. And then the second song, which we'll talk about now, Hypnosis, is much different. And it's probably the heaviest song on the album, which I really enjoyed. I think that their singer is so good, man. He's so good. But I think that he shines on the more soft songs. Not that he does a bad job with the heavy ones, but his voice is just so delicate and like, maybe delicate's the wrong word. It's very soulful. It's very interesting. And so I think it plays better to some of the others. But I do think Hypnosis has some really cool guitar work. That breakdown is so cool. The first time I heard the breakdown in this song, I was just driving in the car listening to this album for the first time, and that breakdown hit me so hard I had to like headbang in the middle of driving. It was so good.
That's what I remember about the song. It's the heaviest song, and I'm kind of out of the heavy music space. I haven't listened to that in a long time, so like I don't have much of an opinion on it because I just haven't been listening to heavy music for a while, so I haven't really kept up with it. But yeah, kind of the same opinion though for the first one, where I just no melodies caught me quite yet, but uh, but still, I mean, one thing I'll say about a lot of these songs is the production is always really solid, and I really like when they do some unique things, which they do on this next track, the third one.
Yeah, the third track is Mine. And yeah, why don't you tell me what you think is unique about it?
It sounded the most like pop production to me on this one, and bringing in some catchy melodies. I felt like this was the one where I was starting to be like, okay, I'm starting to get this, and yeah, I mean, for me, like the kind of music I listen to, this was a lot closer to that, and this one was the first one that started to stand out to me.
Yeah. I think that this is the first song on the record that gives you a taste of how good their synths are.
Yeah.
The synths are so good, dude. Almost every single song in here just has a banger synth. And this one definitely has that. And I also think that they do this thing where they'll kind of start off some of their songs with the chorus, but you don't really know it's the chorus yet. They're kind of like singing it a little softer with like just some leads in the background, and then it comes back around later so hard, and it's super cool. Anyways, track number 4 is Like That. So give me your thoughts.
This is probably my least thoughts. I thought this was the most generic song on the record. I don't know. Nothing stood out to me on this one. But I've only listened to all those songs once, and I guess of all the ones that I listened to, this is the one I had least to say about. Do you have any opinions on it?
Well, I'm surprised you say it's generic, because I think that it's actually really different. But that being said, it's probably my least favorite song. I don't really like the song all that much, but it does. It's memorable to me just in the way that I think that the drums are really stylized, and it's got a more it's not as like big sounding, you know.
I do agree with the drums. It just starts with the pounding drums and continues on for a lot. That is something I do remember about that. But yeah, just the no melody that caught me, I guess.
And that's fair. Well, I think that the next one, I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say that you remember this one, because this one is amazing. The fifth track is The Love You Want, and this is one of the singles off the record, and it's a beautiful song, and it's so good.
Yeah, this was the first one that just absolutely floored me, and it totally changed my mind on where I thought this record was going for me. This had the best production and a bunch of interesting changes within the song, which I really liked, and I just liked the style in general. I mean, this is a little bit more poppy for sure, and catchy, and some great melodies, and it's this song and the next that really, where you kept talking about the singer's voice, and I feel like this is where it shined for me on this one and the next one.
I just wanted to take a second and read some of the lines from the second verse, because I think that the second verse has some of the best lyrics in the whole album. So it says here, seems your heart is locked up and I still get the combination wrong, or are you simply waiting to save your love for someone I am not? Too many swallowed keys will make you bleed internally someday. I love all those lines, and they're so powerful, especially with the melodies and the banger synths like we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I usually don't pay that much attention to lyrics, especially when I'm just listening to it for the first time, but this was one of the only records they reviewed where I pulled up the lyrics with them and was paying attention. I did notice they had some good writing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a song about how he's saying like he could still be what you want. He can still become that person that you need, even though he's not there at the moment. And I think that that's a pretty relatable message. We all want to be better. We all want to be that person that our loved ones depend on, and sometimes we're not. But this song is just saying like, I can still be that person for you.
Yeah.
Track number 6 is Fall For Me, which is a very different song. It's I don't know. You know that song? I mean, of course you know it. Hide and Seek. By Emotion Heap.
I don't know. Oh, I haven't. I don't know. I don't off the top of my head.
No, you know it. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
song goes. What you say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's that song. It does the same thing that song does, where it's got like the whole song is pretty much just vocals.
Yeah.
It's like a cappella, and they layer the vocals in a way where like every single word is like dramatically harmonized.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think this song is really cool.
Yeah, this was my favorite song. I mean, that opening just line when you get, yeah, right, like you said, that vocal effect and that melody, which is by far the catchiest on the record for me, just immediately hooked me. This one, I was really impressed. And what I think is a good album is something that does something different like this. This is so different. Like you said, it's basically just his vocals, and I mean, it just really worked for me, and it really impressed me.
All right, so now we're about halfway through the record here, and we have track number 7, which is Alkaline. This was another single. I think it might have been the first one they released, or maybe not. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. But this one goes crazy, in my opinion. It somehow makes chemistry sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell that the writers of this song know a lot of things about science, because this song and a couple other songs have some lines where I had to like look it up to know what certain things meant, and I was like, oh, that's like a science term. But anyways, this song Alkaline is talking about a girl who, it says, she's not acid nor alkaline, so she's something transcendent, something above what we know to be real.
Yeah, this song was weird to me. I wasn't sure why it's had the most streams. You telling me it's a single makes sense, because I wasn't hooked by this song. I liked a couple of things that it did, but yeah, I mean, that is kind of impressive to kind of use a different framing device for your writing instead of just a generic love song. I really do when they introduce an element like this and make it stylized and themed. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and you know what? They still are kind of in that heavy scene. And this is one of the more heavy songs on the album. And so that's why I would assume it to be the most popular. That tends to happen a lot on records like these, where even if it's not like the quote-unquote best song, it still hits the target audience right where they want it. And so I would say like Alkaline and Hypnosis, those ones are huge just because they're heavy, you know?
Yeah, they are.
But unfortunately, this is where the album starts to trail off for me. I think that right in a row here, we get a couple songs that are not bad songs, but they're not nearly as memorable as some of the others.
Yeah.
Which brings us to track 8, Distraction. And I actually really like this song, but it's got like almost the least amount of streams. It's kind of in a dead zone, and the next couple songs are in a dead zone. But Distraction is a great song. I think that it's got a really catchy melody. I think that the chorus is great. It's got some falsetto in there, and it's a song that is kind of, you know, he's saying that he's fallen down this path of distraction, and he's not doing what he should, and he's not becoming the person that he was supposed to be. But it's too late, and he's distracted, and this is what it is now. He's not going back.
Yeah, I like what you said about there being a dead zone. I think every record does this, and we bring it up a lot on every record. Once you get past the halfway mark, you know, for a couple of songs it dips in quality, usually comes back up at the end. That's normal. Every record does this. Although I agree, I actually like this song. It's one of my favorites. I really like like you said, their synths are incredible. There's this like kind of beating synth that has some really cool effects on it, and some echoing melodies that I liked. And it has a breakdown kind of at the end that's I think if you're a big fan of this, will be like the emotional part of the record. I felt like just the atmosphere of it, and yeah, I liked this one.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a break here from the tracks to talk to you a little bit about the band before we go on to the last few here, because I don't know if you looked them up or whatever,
yeah,
like what you
please.
know. So Sleep Token is a band of all the members are completely anonymous, and so they have not revealed who they are. They wear masks when they play shows and like do music videos and stuff, which is not. I mean, it's not new. It's been done before. There's been bands that do that. However, this is the first band where like they did that, and I legitimately could not figure out who they were. Like I looked it up, and just no one freaking knows, which is it's interesting. I mean, like Slipknot was one of the first, to my knowledge, to do the whole like masked anonymous thing, but everyone knows the names of the people who play in the band. Like it's knowledge you can easily find. Not with Sleep Token, you can't find who they are.
That's interesting.
And they also do this thing. They kind of create this atmosphere and this culture behind their music. They claim, and obviously it's all it's all in fun, and you can tell that in the way they do it. But they claim that their music is worship to an ancient god called Sleep, and that their followers are like a cult. And so they talk in like cryptic messages, and like their posts on Instagram of like their live shows will be like sacred moments captured on camera or something like that. And so it's like this really fun, interesting community that they're building.
Yeah, I mean, that helps a lot.
So now let's move on to Descending, track 9. What were your thoughts on Descending?
The first half didn't capture me. I wasn't really vibing with it until it changes halfway through into some interesting like modern production techniques with some hi-hats and some kind of wacky synth that I actually really liked. But overall, this was not a super standout for me.
For me, in my opinion, Descending is unfortunately where we descend into forgettableness. I really have a hard time remembering this song, and it's not to say that it's bad, but I think that it's that dead zone that we were talking about, and it doesn't even really get better in Telomeres, which is track 10. I looked up what telomeres meant because I've never heard that word before, but it has something to do with chromosomes and how aging affects your DNA and stuff like that. So this is again one where I don't have much to say about it, just because it's not a very memorable song to me.
Yeah, this I agree. This one, I could tell if you're a really big fan of the band, this is a deep cut that you'll probably get invested in. On first listen, this one, was not memorable enough. The only thing I noted about it was that I liked that it had a guitar solo.
And deep cuts are valuable, but not to a first-time listen and not to casual listeners. They're really only valuable to those hardcore fans who just love everything the band does and wants more of that interesting and unique content. So no hate to Telomeres, but I didn't like it that much, unfortunately. Then we have High Water, where I think that it definitely picks up a bit. It becomes a little bit more interesting, and you can tell with the streams that it gets back up to 1 million here. So obviously this track did something, and I think that it is really good. I think that the chorus is not as catchy as some of the other choruses on here, but it's still a breath of fresh air coming out of that dead zone.
Yeah, I think this song sits right in the middle of that quality scale for them, and all I noted was the heavy breakdown at the end was my favorite part.
Yeah, I think that they do that really well. I mean, their guitar work, that tone, it's like this like deep rumble, which is just so good to me. I love it. And their drums go crazy. Like the drums are always doing something fast and weird, and I think that plays really well to their heavier parts.
Yeah.
All right, and now we are brought to track 12, the final track, the closer, which is Missing Limbs. Now, we've been talking a lot about how important we think closers are, and I love this one. I've been really getting into soft, sad closers.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge fan of like big finishes, big finales, something like, you know, we both listened to Pierce the Veil growing up, and I know that like their album Misadventures, the last song for Isabel, that one is like both emotional and goes crazy at the end and like has this huge like dramatic finish, and that's what I used to be super into, and now these soft ones are really getting to me. I think that this song is a perfect closer to me.
I mean, going acoustic was a great choice. That's the change of pace we needed, and I agree. If you're going to do it, when it comes to a closer, you've either got to go really soft, like you said, or go huge. You got to pick one. If you do just a generic normal song off the record, that's where you lose me. But if you go one of these two directions, I'm a fan, and I was definitely thought this was a solid closer. This was the way to go, and makes it really stand out, especially when they didn't have an acoustic song anywhere else. It was a good choice.
Yeah, I totally agree. So now we've talked about all 12 tracks here. What is your overall opinion of This Place Will Become Your Tomb?
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, it's definitely not my style, and I'm just impressed that it caught me on a couple songs that I had to add to my liked songs. I think their production is really good, and yeah, I mean, I like when they're inventive with their style. I think they could do some really interesting things if they keep being inventive about it. But yeah, overall, really solid.
Now, you and I had a little chat at the end of last episode, off when we weren't recording, about how we weren't sure if we were going to keep going with the 1 to 10 scale just because it feels really weird assigning a number to something so arbitrary and so elusive as music. Do you want to give it a number score? Do you want to try doing something else with it? What do you think?
I kind of wanted to step away from the number scale. I feel like I could put a number on it, but I don't feel the point. Yeah. It's definitely tough to know what to do with it.
Maybe you and I can brainstorm some other method of ranking later, but yeah, for now, we just won't go with numbers because it's just weird to put a number on music, even though it can feel kind of right to say like, oh, that's a 5 or that's a 10 or, you know, whatever. At the same time, it's impossible to define what you mean by that.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think that this album is really, really good, but I also think that Sleep Token is going to give us something better in the future. I think that this, they really showed their potential with this album. You can see how much they've grown since their last album, which was also pretty good. And I think that this one's better, and I think that they're going to keep getting better. So that's really all I have to say about it. I think that everyone should go listen to it and just give some of these songs a try because there's some definitely unique ones, and I think that it's kind of got something for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. It's not just heavy.
All right, man. Thank you for listening to this record because it's an important one to me.
Yeah.
And I look forward to whatever you choose next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. appreciated any and all feedback. I think just the other day we got a comment on our Pierce the Veil one for the Collide with the Sky, and someone was saying that they really want us to do the other Pierce the Veil albums. So I messaged back and said that we'll definitely try to do that sometime soon. But yeah, look out for something next week. Hopefully we'll be cranking these out for you. Much love. Peace.